What's going on, you guys? Froster, and I'm back with another video. In today's video, I'll be doing a Kha'zix jungle guide. He is one of the better champions you can pick right now. Pretty much the best champion you can pick right now into like the top champions like Ezreal, Nidalee, Jarvan. He's a really solid one to deal with squishy champions early on and being able to just put them behind, put early game junglers behind. So yeah, let's get right into the runes first. So this is the rune page I use on the Kha'zix. I go for flat attack damage in both reds and quints. Then I go for 4 flat armor and then scaling health. You only really need 4 flat armor to help you in the early game to tank your jungle camps, and then the rest is just more health to scale into the later stages of the game, which is most useful. Then my glyphs are just a total of 10% CDR, 5% early, and then 5% scaling, because what you build is you build 30% cooldown reduction. So this will max out your CDR with that, and it's just really beneficial to have max CDR on Kha'zix, so for that reason I just do that. Also, having magic resist or something in that slot doesn't really help you too much, because you're pretty squishy anyway, and like 10 magic resist isn't really gonna mean too much. And if you really need magic resist, you can always build a Maw. So yeah, that's the runes. Now onto the masteries. This is the mastery page I use for Kha'zix. I go for the sorcery, of course, to have more ability damage, since your Q is the main source of damage, really. And yeah. Then Fresh Blood for more just burst damage. This is also for more burst damage, and this is just also for more burst damage. Then you take Savagery to help with your jungle clear early on, because this just does not only work on like your auto attacks, but also your Q. So this is gonna help. Like this is gonna be the main thing for you to help you clear early on and fast. Like every time you auto attack Q, you get a 10 extra damage, which is a lot actually. And at this point, I usually tend to go for Assassin on Kha'zix, because you're trying to look for the enemy jungler really if you pick this champion, and then just try to 1v1 him a lot. So that's why this helps, but there's also an argument to be made for the runic affinity to have your red buff and blue buff for longer. So it's kind of either or. I mean, having red buff for longer is definitely not bad. Then Merciless, just base damage increase. Like once you're trying to one-shotting people, Merciless is actually useful. And then Greenfather's Gift is also just there for extra damage. Precision for extra lethality and extra damage. And then Storm Raiders is the big thing on the Kha'zix, because you need to be able to like dance around people pretty easily, and also you're easily gonna be able to proc that health threshold to get the speed boost. So as soon as you just hit someone once with like a Duskblade proc, for example, you're gonna get the Storm Raider Surge, and then you're gonna be able to chase like flashes out and all that type of stuff. So this is really key for you to pick Storm Raiders. If you can't really play with this, then I mean Thunderlords isn't bad. It's the second choice. It helps you with more initial burst damage, and it's kind of noob friendly, if you know what I mean. So if you're not too confident, I guess pick Thunderlords over this, because that will help you more in those situations then. Then onto the item build. This is the item build I use on Kha'zix. I start with the Hunter's Talisman and a refillable potion. The reason I start with this is because you use your damaging, like you use your abilities a lot, and then you get like health back from the talisman. The other one is not really that useful. It's like auto attack damage, but the main thing you're clearing your jungle with is your Q anyway. It's on such a low cooldown, so you might as well have the talisman for that. Now, onto the core build. This is what you want to build pretty much every single game on Kha'zix. The boots are interchangeable, but yeah. So, a warrior enchant always. Now, whatever one you get depends on the game. You might have to get red smite against like heavy burst champions, because if you red smite them, then they won't one-shot you instantly, and then you actually have a chance to retaliate. But if they're not that burst heavy, then you can go with like a blue smite, or maybe even the other smite to get your team some vision control. There's a lot of variables with that, but usually what I prefer in Kha'zix, and like the champions I would pick Kha'zix into in certain games, is like blue smite viable, and sometimes red smite viable if they're like really high burst. But yeah, blue smite helps you a lot with chasing as well, which is why I prefer it mostly over red smite, even though red smite is an insane skill. On the Kha'zix, I just don't think it's that useful. You just want to burst people down, position yourself correctly. Now, the main item in this entire build is Duskblade, and this is also why later in the game you see me use the R evolve first on Kha'zix. I prefer RWE evolves. I don't evolve my Q anymore these days, because with the Duskblade and then your R evolve, it's really good. You can get like so many procs off and so much extra damage off in fights. Plus, as soon as you walk into a brush, even if the brush is warded, you still like remain your Duskblade proc for that fight, because you get invisible. And Kha'zix's invisibility is like not spottable, so you will always get that Duskblade to help you with extra damage, and that's just why you do that. Then, just this item it gives you so much one-shot potential. As I'm sure you'll see in the gameplay that I have for you guys, you'll for sure see how much damage Duskblade actually does. So it's just a no-brainer. You pick this up every single game. This is the item for Kha'zix. Now, as I said, the boots are interchangeable. Most games Ninja Tabi, some games Mercury Threads. Depends on CC, a lot of just the enemy team. So just look at the game and think whatever is better, Mercs or Ninja does. Now, this is where it starts to get like variable. There's a lot of options here. You can go for like Guardian Angel, Maw, Death's Dance, both the Lost Whispers, and then a Scimitar. Now, most games I will definitely be picking up the Guardian Angel, so it's kind of like a core item for me. This is, I say most games, like probably 95% of the games. 5% of the games I don't need it, and I can just go straight burst damage and be fine. But yeah, so it's kind of like a core thing to build GA, because the reason you want to build GA is really to be more aggressive. You're pretty squishy as Kha'zix, and as soon as you jump into like one-shot someone with like a Duskblade proc and like an auto attack or something like that, on the ADC for example, you're very vulnerable to actually getting one-shot yourself because you're that squishy, and then GA will help you in those situations to actually survive. Obviously, you have your ultimate as well to like get out really fast, and you also have your Storm Raiders to get out really fast, so you can just press invisibility on your ult instantly as soon as you land and do the damage, and then walk out that way, but Guardian Angel will be the safety net for you. Now, this is like not really an item I'm gonna get after my Ninja Tabis. Usually, after Ninja Tabis, I will be picking up either Maw or Death's Dance, depending on the enemy team. If they have a lot of magic damage, I'll usually go for a Maw, because this will then help me more. But if they don't really have that much magic damage, and like maybe one magic damage dealer on the enemy team, I'll just go for a Death's Dance instead, because this will give me more sustain, and it will also kind of help me fight the magic damage target, because most of the time magic damage targets are actually burst champions, and Death's Dance prevents you from getting bursted as hard, so you have a chance to retaliate and pretty much one-shot them in return. So it's kind of depending, really. This item is pretty much interchangeable. I will never, actually not never, I'll very rarely get both of the items in my build, because it will kind of be inefficient, as I do have 10% CDR in my runes right now, and then I will overcap it with the items I have right now. I could switch out like a Warrior Enchant late game for maybe a Mar or something, but yeah, it's rarely ever gonna happen, really. Now, obviously, if you're gonna look for a game where you don't need a Lost Whisper, really, they don't really have any armor, but you need to get like a magic resist item, then there's a Mercurial Scimitar to be in that slot instead of Maw, to be more efficient, and then as well just have a little bit of lifesteal, magic resist, but also the Quicksilver effect. It can help you with mobility, it can help you remove crowd control, and it's just your magic resist item at that point. Now, this item, again, is interchangeable for like any of the Lost Whispers, if they have like a lot of armor, which teams these days do stack quite a good amount of armor. The later the game goes, you actually definitely want to be getting one of the Lost Whispers. Depending on the enemy team, if they have like a lot of high health tanks, you want to get this item. If they don't, then you want to get like a Mortal Reminder. But something like this type of build, maybe like a Maw there or anything like that, this is usually what my full build looks like on Kha'zix. There are some options, of course, variables depending on the enemy team. I can't really go into detail on that, but this is usually what my build would look like, and yeah. If you guys have any questions on the build, make sure to ask them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video so far, please make sure to hit the thumbs up as well. And yeah, let's get right into the gameplay now. Alright, welcome to the gameplay section of this guide. I'm obviously playing Kha'zix into an Ezreal. This is pretty much the perfect type of matchup you can get as a Kha'zix in this current stage of the game. He counters like squishy early game champions like Ezreal, Nidalee. He's also pretty good against Jarvan, Kayn, all those types of champions. And this is just one of the most perfect matchups you could get. The thing with Ezreal is, though, here is I'm gonna start my red top side, obviously, because Ezreal usually tries to like blue-red invade or maybe even start my own red buff. So I have to start there in order to make it work. And as you can see right now, I'm getting kind of poked down by the Ezreal a little bit. Like, I was standing there to have vision so that he couldn't really walk in, but he just kept going and kept going. I'm like, okay, I might just take a recall here because it's still in time, but then he hits me again. And at this point, it's kind of like, alright, I can't recall anymore. So at this point, I have to think about it. Like, I might get one recall off, but then Singe walks in as well, which makes it quite hard for me to actually do anything. Now here, Ezreal walks all the way around, which is a really risky play from him to be in that position right now. Zed can walk up. I do flash to get the Ezreal's flash at the same time. So that's also pretty good for me. I pop my potions just to get my health back, because they're refillable potions. It doesn't matter too much. You can just use them. The thing I want to get here is I just want to get my red buff. As soon as I can get this, if Ezreal does keep going and I get the red buff, he dies instantly. This is like a really stupid move from the Ezreal, and you guys gotta remember, this game specifically is played against like Diamond 2s, Diamond somewhere like that, like Diamond 2-ish elo. Like, this is a dirty Ezreal tactic, but if I get this red buff in and he doesn't, he's dead. Like here, I get the red buff, and then I just skill my E second because that gives me some extra range to leap on the guy. He is really squishy, so as soon as I hit him with an isolate Q auto attack, he's dead. Now, I'm standing on this side of the wall for just so that Singe cannot get over and, like, get away for free. But then Katarina reacts, which makes it quite hard for me to do anything. But Katarina follows the Z, and I saw that Singe walk the other way. So what I'm going to do right here is I'm going this way, jump over the wall. I figured Singe would be there, and all I got to do is just hit him with the auto attack, and he dies as well. So this game starts off with me getting a kill and an assist, and Mordekaiser getting first blood of the play that Ezreal made of being too aggressive. Now, this could work out. It was literally a 50-50 on who got the fucking red buff, and he didn't get it. He failed his smite, I got it, and then at this point, Kha'Zix into Ezreal becomes really easy because Kha'Zix actually wins that already due to his isolation damage, and all I have to do right now is just walk away with the game pretty much. Now right here, he's probably gonna go to like his blue buff or red buff, either or. He's most likely not going to be invading me anymore at this point because I did get a really good lead over him, so he has to be very careful at this stage. All I gotta do is farm up a little bit and just start putting out some pressure gank-wise to out-pressure the Ezreal. So right here, I look for a gank towards like the Katarina probably, but then Ezreal shows bot lane right here. So all I gotta do is ask Zyra to react, and I'm right on top of him, so I just jump over, look at the damage I deal to this guy. Isolation damage is pretty crazy. Also, Zyra ignited and hit him as well, but he just pretty much got bursted, and that's the power of Kha'Zix matchup into an Ezreal matchup, and this is the type of matchups you want to pick Kha'Zix into. If you don't get a squishy matchup, then Kha'Zix isn't the best champion for you to pick. Just remember that as well. Now right here, Katarina's kind of pushed up, so I'm like, alright, I might as well just go for that. The Ezreal is dead, so there can be, he cannot gank, really. He can counter gank me. So at this point, I can just put out a lot of pressure on Katarina and maybe force some summoners. So I just jump on her. She does exhaust and flash, but Zed makes a really nice play and actually picks up the kill. At this point, I have so much control in the early game that there's really nothing the enemy Ezreal can do against me, and I just be able to kill him over and over again. Now, their bot lane is really low here, actually. Xayah and this guy are really low. If I play this well, but I know I don't, but if I played this well, I probably could have double killed them. But I got hit by this guy right here. I didn't like do this fast enough, and then I just died to pretty much minion damage. Like the Braum didn't do too much. If I didn't get hit by all those minions, I had a chance of surviving. But yeah, the thing I fucked up there on was... let me just go back. I'll explain why I fucked up. Right. This, I should not have jumped in like this. I should have just walked back and waited for the Xayah things to go off a little bit. Then the Braum probably would have chased me a little bit more. He got into isolation range. Xayah can't follow me because as soon as I use my E, she's dead. So bait him out a little bit further and then just wait for like another W to heal and poke him down slowly. And that's the way I could have won this, by just stalling it out a little longer. But I went in too deep too fast and then I just died. So that was my mistake on that one. Now right here I have my blue smite, I have double longsword. The reason I'm going blue smite this game is because they have a bunch of squishies, except for Singed. But the thing with Singed is, going blue smite into a Singed is actually good, because it gives you a little bit of chase potential if you need it on like low HP, so he can't really get away that easily. Right here, the enemy team is looking for a 3-man top. The Ezreal suddenly walks behind me. I didn't notice it at first, but then I just like, okay, well, this Mordekaiser is dead, so I might as well just deal the damage to Ezreal. Ezreal E's the other way, but at the same time Zed's roaming upwards, so I'm like kind of stalling, hoping he chased me a little bit. So I'm just kind of staying around here and waiting for Zed to actually show up. Now he gets here. This guy loses a lot of his health. And then all I do is Q auto attack him and he just dies again. Like, this Ezreal tried a little bit too hard this game to actually get get the lead going. By the early invade and all that, if he didn't do that, he actually would have had a chance. But at the same time, he probably realized that if he didn't do something like that, he would lose the matchup against Kha'Zix regardless. So at this point, I just try to freeze the wave for the Mordekaiser right here, because they both don't have teleport, and I knew this. So I was like, alright, if I just put the wave in a decently good position for Mordekaiser when he gets to the lane, then he can just freeze it and have an advantage over Singed. Because as soon as you freeze the wave in about this position against the Singed, he can't really farm it too well, because he can't really walk into turret range and points in the minions, if you know what I mean. So if you can keep it right here, then it's actually really good for you. And really bad for the Singe. So that's what I did right here. I just froze the wave a little bit. Pick up the big one still here and then just go away. Now, 4-1 in 2 is a really good start. I don't have enough money yet for my warrior enchant. Not sure what I'll buy here actually. Probably like the, yeah, okay, the Warhammer. I only have 9 CS because it has been like pretty much a straight Clown Fiesta early game, which is like expected to happen against Ezreal because he does gank a lot and doesn't farm too much, so he really wants to depend on getting that snowball going. And with Kha'zix, you just gotta play into that and really just counter gank him as much as possible. Try to predict where he's going, or maybe try to invade him as well, depending. Right here, I'm just looking to kill this Singed right now, I think. There's Mordekaiser can bait it, and then I just jump in and hit the Singed. Alright, I'll just go back here. Like, Singe is stopped right now. He's not level 6 yet, which makes him a lot easier to kill. If he would hit level 6, it would be quite difficult for us to kill him. But right here, I just have Blue Smite. I hit him with it. I get an extra speed boost, and then my red buffs everything. He just dies instantly. He's in isolation range. I'm really strong right now because I have 4 kills. This is the type of early pressure you want to get. I placed the pink ward behind me just in case like Ezreal tries to flank me from behind or something whilst I'm waiting for this gank to work. But this might also be warded, I'm not sure. Like, this currently is just from my point of view, but I think with that Ezreal Q, I don't think he would have E'd over like that, so it probably wasn't warded, but because the Q didn't hit anything, he would just go over. But right here, like, look at that damage. That is exactly why Kha'zix is so good into, like, those squishy early game champions. Now, Katarina does die. Ezreal probably chases me, and I can't really fight him right now because I'm quite low, and I don't have my E up, as you can see right here. It's still on cooldown, so I'm pretty much just waiting for that. Now, first evolved skill is my R. I always evolve my ultimate first on Kha'zix these days because it's actually really strong. Especially when you combine it with, like, pretty much your first item. Not your jungle item, but the next item is Duskblade. And ultimate evolve with Duskblade is pretty crazy. Also, you don't really, like... I mean, you don't gain... sure, you gain some damage from evolving your Q and everything, and, like, some CDR on it. But overall, your ult's more utility and it's more useful. Plus, every brush you hit, you get a movement speed boost, and... it's just so much chase potential. And right there, I'm deciding not to chase the Singe, because you never chase a Singe. Like, chasing a Singe is a stupid move. Just try to avoid that at all costs. Right here, I have 1100 gold. This Singe does still go for me, though, for some reason. Probably was, like, warded or something, but I just poke him a little bit and jump out. This is my warrior with, like, a longsword. Now, this next longsword's obviously gonna go into a Duskblade. Duskblade on Kha'zix, like, early game is really, really strong, and that's something you definitely want to look for every single game to get that item. And that's also why you just evolve your ultimate first, because you can use it a lot more effectively and use your Duskblade a lot more effectively. Now right here, I still have a blue buff, so I just give the blue to Zed. That just works. Giving blue to Zed is actually not bad. This Ezreal saw me right there, so he just suicides the turret to not give me the kill or an assist. That's pretty smart of him. I would have done the same. I barely couldn't get in range to get him, so it's unfortunate. In that situation, it might have been better to go for Braum, but the thing is, Braum is pretty tanky right now, and I actually don't think I would have had the damage to actually kill him. Because he wasn't really isolated, he was still in his minions and all that, so yeah. And there was also a risk of Saya showing up, of course. Now here, just do some camps to farm up a little bit more. You gotta, like, try to at least keep some farm going, even in these types of Clown Fiestas, you have to get, like, some camps. Now here, my team wants to go for top lane, and I knew Katarina was top lane as well, so I just run top lane. I see this Singed. Like, his ultimate is really annoying to deal with, but yeah. He gets ignited. I just juke the Ezreal a little bit and just walk away. If Ezreal would chase here, he would die instantly. And also, I've placed a ward, like, earlier, or there's a ward right here. I'm not sure who placed it. Can I see that? Oh yeah, I placed the ward earlier to see if anyone was here or, like, Katarina was waiting there, but then he just walks back over the ward and we get a free kill on him again. At this point, the Ezreal's 1-6 and he's literally done for. This game is already over. If you just close this out properly and actually go for certain objectives well and just roam with your teammates a little bit more, then there's nothing they can do. Like, the enemy is just gone. And this is pretty much Ezreal's shut down. So for any type of jungler that is facing Ezreal, just pick Kha'zix into it and play like kind of like this. Like, probably the Ezreal won't be the most retarded Ezreal in the world and try to 1v1 you in the level 1 red buff. But again, you gotta remember this is a Diamond 2 Ezreal player-ish, so he probably isn't that bad. And he still went for it. But usually Kha'zix just wins because he has so much isolate damage over the Ezreal, and he is able to, like, especially once you get your ultimate, you can just juke the Ezreal completely with like his Qs. It's gonna be really hard for the Ezreal to actually hit the guy because you can't right-click someone that's invisible. You can only hit his Qs, and with the movement speed boosts you get from your ultimate actives, it's really hard for Ezreal to actually hit you in general. Right here, I see Ezreal top lane. I'm just looking to pressure this a little bit. He's standing right next to the wall, so I'm like, alright, I can look for a play here. I flash over, I Q him once, and I just go out. I figured it'd be worth it, but then Katarina would show up as well and cinch. Now right here, like, having my ultimate actually saved me really hard. So close. Walk past everyone. And actually get out. Feels good, man. Smite the blue for some extra health. That's something a lot of junglers don't do when I like level or rank a new account. For example, in like unranked silver elos, gold elos, platinum elos even. When I try to 1v1 the enemy jungler, I'm always like smiting the buff camp or smiting anything to get my health back up by using the smite. But I never ever see like another jungler actually do it. They literally just like try to 1v1 without smiting. This might be on cooldown, but I think they just completely forgot. And like smite actually heals you for quite a lot. It heals me for like a good 200 HP and 191 HP. That's a lot of health. Like it would matter a lot in 1v1 situations. So always remember to use your smite as well when you're trying to like get some HP back and all that. If you have it, just use it. Right, currently I am getting really close to being able to pick up my Duskblade. I believe it's only 1100 gold right now for me to pick up Duskblade, so I'm like 50 gold out, and I'm really looking to just back for it and get it. I'm just waiting around here a little bit. I'm not sure if this is warded, to be honest, but with the way Ezreal's playing, probably not. He's literally just eat in like that. He didn't know I was there. He still walks forward. Like, look at that damage, man. If I got the auto attack off, if he didn't flash out, he would have died again. That's so much power you have against like a squishy champion as Kha'zix. It's actually insane. Especially if you get a lead like early on. Ooh, Cinch left. Interesting. He might have just disconnected, I suppose. Alright, that's my Duskblade. And at this point, this is why you have that ultimate. Like, having that extra ultimate evolve really helps you out a lot. And just lose it. Like, you have to remember that if you have a Duskblade, the enemy team needs to lose vision over you for you to get the damage increase on Duskblade. And with your ultimate, that really helps you, like, a lot. You can walk into a brush and just turn invisible instantly. Even if the brush is, like, warded, you still get the invisibility from the, from your ultimate. So that's just why it's that good. Like, you get so much invisibility out of it that in, like, clutch situations, you don't have to really rely on your isolation damage that much early on in fights. You can also rely on just getting Duskblade procs easily. So right here... Alright, I got hit by this guy. I was like, oh, jump over because Braum was there, and I'm like, oh shit, I made a mistake. But the fun part here, look at this shit. This guy is just gone. Duskblade busted, boys. Alright, just go back here. I saw Braum, right here. I'll just... There it is. I saw Braum clear right here, so I'm like, okay, I'll just, jump over this way. I probably didn't take into account that this plant would still be up, and I just jumped over. He hit the plant, and I flew with him. But the thing here is, I am so strong right now that I just literally one-shot this Ezreal. I just need to go back a little bit more and just show you guys. Alright, real slow motion right here. Look at how much damage my auto attack does to him with the Duskblade. This, boom, half his HP. Smite does about 5%, and then another W does like 15, and then my last Q finishes it off. Like, he's just gone. The Duskblade is so strong. Right, here we're looking for a fight as a team. Mordekaiser roamed down, so we can actually potentially win this fight. Alright, I go back to farming my jungle camps, because again, you need to kind of keep up your farm. Even in clan fiestas like this, where a lot of fights are going on, definitely keeping up your farm is useful. And something you should look for. Alright, here I just walk around. Go in behind them, like, again, right there, by the way. Let me just go back a little bit. Alright, right here. No, go to myself. Alright, this is like the R involve. I get a move speed boost here, get some extra speed, get the move speed boost here, but I'm invisible. So I get in behind him, Braum didn't even see me, and I just one-shot him. Like, the strength of evolving R first is really insane. As you, like, you get all these types of plays going, and one Q, like, evolving your Q first doesn't really do too much for you, because your Q will always still deal a lot of damage in isolation range. So, like, literally one Q was like still 45% of Ezreal's health bar. The R is way more utility and way more useful in that sense. Right here there was pink for Dragon, because we have to remember that we have a Mordekaiser on our team, so giving him that is really good. But we decided to go for the turret instead. Right here I was like, alright, I can probably fight this Katarina, but I just disrespected her damage pretty much and just got one shot. I don't have any magic resist really, so it's kind of risky to go for that play. I really need like a Maw or like some extra magic resist to be able to do something like that. And I just overestimated like my damage output. Let's speed up a little bit until I'm alive again. Alright, here I'm just looking to get my red buff as soon as possible, because I know that there's gonna be a next fight quite soon, because this game is just all about fights. So just pick up the red buff, and I pretty much instantly run to Dragon, I think. Both Singed and Katarina are top lane, which is a pretty good mistake, a pretty big mistake from the enemy team. We can capitalize on that, just pick up a free Dragon, and with that Dragon and Mordekaiser, we can just go shove mid lane. We can get a lot of like stuff going against them. Like Mordekaiser Dragon is really, really insane. Right here, I'm just trying to flank a little bit, deal some damage to this Braum. He's really tanky, so I only do about like 1/4 of his health bar, which is still a good amount, but yeah. Now I saw Ezreal off to the side here, and again, like, this is exactly why Kha'zix is such a good pick into squishies. Like, not just Ezreal, but also Nidalee and like Kayn and all that. 1Q was so much damage, and an auto attack with the Duskblade proc is just him gone. I probably could have one-shot him if he had twice as much health right there. It's pretty crazy. Oh, by the way, my second evolve on Kha'zix is actually always W. Pretty much always W. Sometimes E, but most of the time just W, because it gives even more utility. You gotta look at it like this. Like the W, if you use it on an isolated target, you slow him for an insane amount. I'm not actually sure how much it is. Can I see this? Yeah, you can slow them for 80% if you hit an isolated target. 80% slow is big, and if you can abuse that in like 1v1 situations or something like that, you can easily dance around them no problem at all. If you have red buff and everything like that, you just have so much advantage over them. That's actually so good. In some situations, I will opt to go for the E instead of the W on the second evolve instead of the third, because in some situations having resets actually helps you a little bit more than having that slowing effect. But in most games, the slowing effect is overall more useful, and if you just play it a bit smart, you don't have to make use of the resets that much. This is the way I like to play Kha'zix these days, because right now, it's kind of a strange, like, meta for champions like Kha'zix. You gotta be a little bit more utility-based and a little less, like, one-shot, one-shot, one-shot based, because it doesn't really work as well these days. So right here, I think I have a pretty good amount of gold. Right here, I am actually building into a Dev's Dance. Interesting. I'm not sure on that one this game specifically, because the only real threat here is Katarina on the enemy team. I'm not sure what I was thinking about. Maybe I was just not respecting the Katarina enough to build some good, like, a decent amount of magic resist, and I was just, like, building more towards countering Xayah this game. Because Dev's Dance is actually a really good pick into, like, a Xayah or something like that, because you can make good use of your, like, healing while trying to 1v1er. Like, look at the fucking potential. By the way, this is, like, exactly why you have the things that I do, like, skilled up. Right here, my ultimate gives me the extra movement speed to get out of the breath. Like, he doesn't even see me for a while. This is just my ultimate evolve. So he only realizes I'm, like, right here. He probably saw me right there, but he only realizes, like, I'm right here now. Then, right here, leap, just the W and the blue smite slow him so much, and I get the Storm Raiders proc, so I can chase him down completely. There's pretty much nowhere for him to go. All he can do is flash right now and then use his plan to get out. And he actually will get out in that situation. But right here, the Z will show up as well. So, he will just get him. And I just walk this way to cut him off completely. And then Z will pick up a kill for free. I mean, he ulted for pretty much no reason, to be honest. But that's up to him, I suppose. I'm 10-2 and 6 right now, which is pretty good. I really abuse the fact that you win most 1v1s against Ezreal early on. And try to fight him as much as possible. Right here, Duskblade procs, and just clear some wards. Put some pressure down. Right there, I just completely... This is also another thing why W is a really good second one. Because what happens right here is I completely deny the Xayah and the Braum from chasing. I hit him and he slowed for like a good amount. Like a really good amount. So he can't really walk up anymore. There's no way for Braum to make a play if Xayah is that far behind him. And then it just pretty much... disengages real easily. That's also why W is really good, because helps you disengage very, very easily. It's not only an offensive thing, it's also a very good defensive thing. If they're like chasing your team, you can then slow the enemy team for a good amount and just walk away. Alright, right here, teamfight breaks out. I am positioning myself, so I'm kind of in range of Caitlyn, because what I figured was that as soon as Katarina shows up, she will try to one-shot the Caitlyn, because she's pretty low, and then if she can make that play going, then I can just one-shot the Katarina in the process. So I'm positioning off a little bit close to Caitlyn. She does, in fact, go for the Caitlyn, as I thought. As soon as she does use her ultimate, I go over, I Q auto-attack her. She loses about 75% of her health bar, auto-attack her again, and she dies. So that's the positioning I was really looking for. Katarina and Xayah are really the only threats. And Xayah wasn't really in a position for me to go for her, because then she obviously has the Braum to defend her and everything. So I just pick up the Katarina, and then just try to walk out a little bit. I think we should back off on this situation. I think we do back off. Ooh, actually I jumped back in. That's pretty stupid. What I did right here is I disrespected the fact that, I thought Xayah might have not used her ultimate yet, and I could just one-shot her. But obviously I just disrespected that a little bit, and I actually jumped into a Xayah ult and killed myself, which is not the smartest move. Right here, she just ults and she just lives. Alright, at this point we should, as a team, look towards doing something like Baron, and let's just walk away with the game, because like we're so far ahead right now in just turrets and overall gold, that we should just be able to win teamfights pretty easily and just take a Baron and win. So that's pretty much what we're doing right now. We're going for Baron. Zyra has plans to be able to tank this, so we don't really need like a heavy tank to be able to do this. Plus I do have my Dev's Dance, which offers me a lot of lifesteal. And yeah, we pick up the Baron. Even though it was pretty close with the Katarina. I'll show you what happened here and how I played this out. So we're just doing Baron right now. And we're like, alright, they're in base. We see them in base right here. So they're like, okay, probably no one can be here. Maybe Katarina. So Katarina actually jumps over. And my Zyra dies instantly. What I do right here, this Baron is really low, so I just stay behind, out of range of Katarina, and I press my ultimate as soon as she jumps on me. So she can't, like, hit me with anything, she can't, like, do much, really, and then I just smite the Baron and just one-shot the Katarina. Again, your ult's so much utility, and, like, you can use it to just completely disrupt, like, burst rotations, pretty much. Because what she would have done is bursted me if she saw me, really. So kind of just disorientated her, and then I picked up the kill. And still got the Baron. Even though it was pretty close. If she killed me, she could have actually gotten that Baron. Alright, here we just look for the dragon with Mordekaiser, of course. We don't pick it up, though, because the enemy team actually gets it first. Now, this is where I make a really big mistake. I should never have jumped into the Singe in the first place, because he's so tanky that I'm actually not going to be able to kill him that effectively right now. Plus, he has, like, the pool that, like, stops me from jumping or, like, being, like, like, right here, I disrespected the fact that Ezreal could just jump over as well. And obviously, the Singe, like, this pool right here stops me from flashing over, even though I do have my flash up, and I'm actually trying. He stops me from flashing over with that pool and actually die. So I kind of greeted on that play. I should have played it a little bit more back and a little bit slower, but, yeah, I didn't. I just speed up a little bit. I mean... Right here, Zed gets the inhibitor. He only gets one inhibitor and dies to Singed. Now, just take some camps. Wait for Zed to respawn, really. I'm just waiting for my Zed to respawn so we can group S5 and push for the mid inhibitor. It's a completely open inhibitor, and we win teamfights pretty easily. Like, we're 20k... Actually, we're 10k gold up, not 20k. My math was off there a little bit. We're 10k gold up as a team, which is pretty big. And I'm also really strong compared to, like, the Ezreal. So I can make, like, good use of this. Now, there are still two people dead. Katarina and Ezreal both died. And all we gotta do, like, right here is just pressure for turret. Just make sure we protect the Caitlyn a little bit. I stand to the side. I'm not gonna walk up to the turret and get flinged by Singed. I just stand off to the side, throw a couple W's to, like, try to slow him a little bit and get him off Caitlyn as much as possible. Now, right here, I jump in for Xayah to force her ultimate out so she cannot kill our Caitlyn. She was hitting him. Caitlyn does die to Ezreal ultimate, though, but at this point, we just gotta take our leave and just back out. We got one of their turrets, and all we really have to do to finish this game out right now is actually just go bot lane as a team, and then just pick up that turret. Maybe win, like, a fight, or, like, anything like that. And then we can just, like, take the game. Because you have to realize that both top and mid lane just are super minions pushing in right now. So, as soon as the super minions, like, really clutter up and big waves walk in, there's nothing they can do to defend the bot inhibitor. They would have to give up pretty much their nexus if they just want to defend the bot inhibitor from us. So then they have to give that up as well, and that way you can snowball the game, like finish end out this game specifically. At this point, I think Baron and Dragon are also pretty close to like 2 minutes out of respawning or something like that. And then if Mordekaiser gets like the dragon under his control, and we can force a Baron with that or something like that, we pretty much win automatically as well. So there are two versions for us to play this. We can just go bot lane right now with all of us, and then wait for the minions to push in, and that way we can get the like just end out the game that way, or we can wait a little bit longer and wait for Baron and Dragon and finish off with that. But I think, yeah, both, like, pretty much a minute now, so it's pretty close. But I think we just still pressure for the bot either way, because both top and mid are actually pushing in, so all we have to do is stall out for a little bit, and then we can pick up a free inhibitor. Right here, I'm trying to position myself off to the side a little bit instead of with my team to try to flank people, which is something you should always try to look for on Kha'zix, because going straight up with a team as Kha'zix is not the best thing you can do. Staying off to the side more is it's more useful, and you are able to like assassinate people, and you're an assassin, so you gotta realize this as well, of course. Follow myself again. I picked up a GA earlier on the back. Having GA on someone like on Kha'zix that dives in a lot, it's really useful, because then you can risk a little bit more and try to one-shot people that like the Xayah or the Katarina. I can just try to one-shot them and use my GA to be safe, or use my ultimate to get out and have the GA as like a backup thing. So GA on Kha'zix is actually something I look to get every single game, because it's just that useful. Alright, here we have complete control because of all those minions they have to defend from, as I just mentioned earlier. And then we just rotate upwards to get more inhibitors. At this point, I was kind of thinking we should actually not fight this and just go back and do like Dragon and Baron, because it's a little bit safer that way. But then the enemy team just kind of messed up a fight, and then we still won, and then we just ended the game off that. So yeah, this is pretty much a perfect game, or like a perfect example of a Kha'zix game, and the situations you pick Kha'zix into, because you don't pick Kha'zix into a tank really. Like you pick Kha'zix into early game champions like Ezreal and just shut them down completely. Exactly what I did this game. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you've learned anything from it, please do make sure to hit the thumbs up below. And yeah, see you guys in the next one. Bye!